Hi Year 6, so we're going to have a look at Write It Now. Last week you will have produced your planet. Hopefully the video was helpful and the other documents around that. If you've made a really good planet, it's going to make today much easier because when you're using what you've planned to support the writing process. So we'll talk a little bit at the end about how we'll revise that and then put that into a final draft. So if you think about this as being sort of a first draft of that particular Write It, looking at the explanation and instructions text that you've been writing about, let's have a look at that now. Okay, so we've created the planet from last week, and if you need to go back to that video, of course, do so. And I've put in the example that I've created on this video at the start as well. And at the end, I'll put in the example that we're going to do for the Write It as well. So I've got that out in front of me. That is really important because I'm going to be using this to help me this morning. Our job is to look through this. We are going to have to add extra bits of information in. So you can see here, I haven't decided how I'm going to finish that yet. So I'm going to be thinking about my audience and what I want them to be thinking about with that rhetorical question and going from there. So I'm going to start on the first paragraph, that meet and greet. I'll read through that now. Tired of your children making a mess of your garden? Looking for a way to tire them out while simultaneously, and whatever it is, the Lawnmower Tricycle 2000, LT 2000, is a variety of, and I'm going to say what it's a variety of and what it does, and that will be my meet and greet. Okay, so I've made a start, so you can see fairly simple with the title there, Lawnmower Tricycle 2000, and I've gone with this for my meet and greet, using my plan to support me. Tired of your children making a mess of your garden? Looking for a way to tire them out while simultaneously sprucing up your lawn? Then look no further than the Lawnmower Tricycle 2000, LT 2000. The LT 2000 is a variety of tricycle that acts as a lawnmower and is so simple it can be operated by children. You can see I've made some changes there while I've been writing. Thought it was better to say it was a type of tricycle that more or less has a lawnmower on it. Okay, so you will have to make some changes while you're working through, and you can see I've made a start on the next box, which is about parts. So I've got my heading there, how does it work? Although the LT 2000 works and rides like any other tricycle, it has two important parts, the crank and mower blades. Again, then I'm going to start explaining the crank and how that works, and then I'm going to talk about the mower blades and its importance. Okay, so I've carried on from there, and what you've got to remember as you're writing through this, you're thinking of making it into a cohesive piece of writing where it all fits in together. Okay, so I've linked up each sentence, making sure they move on from one to the next one, and making sure they are in full sentences. So just copying straight from your plan isn't necessarily going to be the best idea. You need to put them into full sentences. So if you remember, we've got as far as the crank. So the crank is a circular mechanism attached to the frame of the tricycle, chain and pedals. The main function of this component is to achieve forward movement. It is triggered by pushing down on the pedals, which allows the crank to turn. This results in the chain rotating in a clockwise direction. As the rear wheels are attached to the chain, these now move forward. The mower blades consist of three rectangular blades attached to the wheel axle. These critical items slice through even the longest grass with ease as the tricycle moves forward, with the sharpened side of each blade revolving at high speed. Okay, so you can see how I've achieved that cohesion. I've been thinking about my I saw a wab up, got as there, may even have a when. Okay, and thinking about making sure I'm telling the person that's reading it, explaining what happens and the results and when these particular things happen. Okay, you'll see as I've gone through the next paragraph, there's quite a few changes I've made as I'm writing it. I'm using my plan to support me, but it wasn't quite working some of the wording, so I've just changed that around a little bit. So how does the LT2000 work? This human-powered machine is propelled forward by the force applied by pedalling. At once, the blades begin to shorten your lawn as previously mentioned. Where possible, it is vital you steer it in a straight line. This is to ensure that the area you are cutting looks neat when completed. Remember, once the LT2000 bag accessory, sold separately, is fixed into place, grass clippings will effortlessly fly inside, saving you the back-breaking job of collecting them manually. Okay, so there's some more sort of technical vocabulary there, or more formal language like manually that I've put in there. And had the feeling that I was repeating myself from the previous paragraph a little bit at the start, so I've just sort of put in that bit there about previously mentioning it, but making sure that the majority of the explanation of how it works is new information for the reader. So I'm coming on to the instructions now. So I'm going to have a heading in there and a little bit of an introduction. I've got to make sure when I'm looking at these instructions that that's exactly what they are. So if you remember in the black pen there, I've made sure I've got my imperative verbs in there, and I'm going to explain probably in 1 or 2 sentences each of the bullet points there. Because we've got those time words like first of all and following this and finally, it's not desperate that we have numbers because we're already ordering it. So if you prefer to use bullet points, that's absolutely fine. So instructions section of the text is now complete. Got my heading there, how do you use the LT2000 safely? And I've got an introductory sentence. It is important you follow these key steps to guarantee an accident-free ride. And I'm going into them. You can see I've used bullet points instead of numbers, but I've made sure that I've got that language at the beginning of each to make sure they're ordered. And I've certainly got in my imperative verbs with some adverbials there to support as well. First of all, adjust the height of both the handlebars and seat. The rider's feet should be able to reach the ground. However, their feet must be no more than 15 centimetres away from the mower blade. Following this, carefully remove any debris, toys, garden furniture and garden equipment for example, from any areas you intend to cut to remove any chance of trips, bumps and crashes. Finally, wear appropriate footwear at all times. The rider is ready to begin. Place your feet on each pedal while the LT2000 is stationary. Off you go. Okay, so time for the roundup. Want to make sure that we're really focused on this particular paragraph. I know you're coming to the end of this now, but it's such an important paragraph here because we're getting across some of the ideas and positives about this particular invention. Okay, yeah, they're made up, but we're trying to get that across to the person that's reading it, and then with our closing remarks, just keep them involved and make it sort of light-hearted. Okay, I'm using lists here for semicolons, so though it's set out in 1, 2 and 3, I will be making this into one sentence. So I won't need a capital letter here because all I'm using is this piece of punctuation. I'm coming round to increase it's the same sentence. I will need the word and after or before my final clause here if you like. Yeah. And then I'll need a full stop at the end before I go into my closing remark. Okay, so you can see that that particular roundup is now written out, and you can see that this section here is the section on the plan that was split into 1, 2 and 3. So there are some fantastic life-changing reasons why every household should own a LT2000, and then I've got my my colon in here. So this particular sentence, or well, it could be a sentence on its own effectively, yeah, but I'm linking it here into what's about to come. So I'm about to tell you some of the fantastic reasons. So it keeps children occupied for 81% longer than its competitors. There's the first one, semicolon, no capital letter. It increases average lawn shortening by 97%, semicolon. And this revolutionary machine completely reduces air pollution and electricity consumption when compared to electric fuel-powered lawnmowers. The time has come for you to trike into the modern age. So what are you waiting for? Get pedalling now. Okay, so once I've written this out, the next day I'm going to actually write it out in best, because as you've seen, there's quite a lot of crossing out where I've made some changes and additions. We're actually going to continue that now because we're going to do a little bit of a revise it. I'm not going to ask you to write paragraphs out again and create perfect paragraph, but we do need to read through it and make changes where necessary. That might be down to spelling, punctuation. Does your sentence make sense, for example? One of the other things to look out for is synonyms. We don't want to be repeating lots of words close together. Okay, so I've got tired of your children making a mess of your garden. Looking for a way to tire them out while simultaneously sprucing up your lawn. Well, I've got the word tired and I've got the word tire here, so I'm actually going to change that to wear. Looking for a way to wear them out while simultaneously sprucing up your lawn. Also now I've got to remember, once the LT2000 bag accessory sold separately is fixed into place, grass clippings will effortlessly fly inside, saving you the back-breaking job of collecting them manually. I'm looking at that word separately. I need to check whether I've spelt that correctly, so I can, if I've got a dictionary, I can use that, or use an online dictionary or something like that. Actually, I've spelt it correctly because I remember the idea that there is a rat in separate. Okay, so A-R-A-T, a rat in separately. I've remembered that, but it's worth checking, and there'll be other words in there that I'll be checking through, like previously, and one or two others. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful, Year 6. A fantastic plan completed by yourself last week is the most important thing to help you with your writing. Okay, once you've completed that, for the revise it side of it, I want you to be reading through it, but read through it slowly. Ask somebody else in your household to read through it as well. You're looking out for any punctuation errors, anything you need to change spelling wise. You might want to change some repeated words. Think of synonyms that might go in there and change its place. You could see as I was writing, I was making additions as well, so no doubt you've done something similar to that. And then once you're ready, write that out in best as a final draft. You may decide to do that by writing it out and typing it out. Okay, so you might want to write it out handwritten, or you might want to type it. Okay, that's up to you. What I would suggest that you do is either by drawing it or by taking it from the homework that we sent last week, is add on a diagram of your invention as well that's labelled. Okay, good luck with that. You've done some hard work over the last couple of weeks on this particular unit of work. Good luck.